Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Candace Parker, under fire, got ripped by Angel Reese fans for some comments she made. And here we have her with Aaliyah Boston on their new podcast to talk about it. I think Candace makes some interesting points, though I want to discuss about sports in general and the WNBA and its growth and the things limiting that and why this is an important discussion to have. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Here we go. So, for those of you that don't know, the other day, Candace Parker was given a list of players and was tiering them. I think like S tier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. I think it was about 10 players. I think she's going to rattle off the names here so you get an idea. And of course, Angel Reese fans were not happy with where Candace Parker ranked Angel Reese. Now, side note, well, I'll get into another time about this whole podcast thing. I have to be consistent. I was gave Angel a lot of criticism for having a podcast last season. I've been very critical and I'm very consistent. I was one of the Philadelphia Sixers fans who was ripping Paul George for doing all those podcasts last season. Professional athletes during their season should not have podcasts. That being said, let's take a listen to what Candace Parker said and then we will talk about it because I think in all seriousness, like this is a serious discussion and we can laugh and have fun with it as well. But for the growth of the league to get to a place to where it wants to be in terms of its fandom and its size and revenue generation and how it is taken from the general public, how they perceive it, how they look at the league. This is a really important discussion to have. So let's take a listen. I think I'm going to have her go for about a minute and a half or so. I will try not to stop it too often, but you know how that can be.
You recently went viral for your comments on Angel, people calling you a hater because you put her in your tier C rankings. What's your response to that?
Okay, for those of you that don't know, I did a tier ranking, and I'm going to list the players. Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Arika Gumbawale, Paige Beckers, Cam Brink, and Angel Reese. I was asked to tier rank them from S all the way down to D, I believe, or E. I think it was actually E. And with that being said, I ranked some players in Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, and Brianna Stewart as S. The rest kind of fell between A and C. For all of those that are commenting comments under random Instagram posts about me, I didn't even realize that I went viral for this until I realized when I was kind of getting alerts on my Instagram of people being like, you're a hater, all this and all that. To all of those, first of all, some are misinformed and uninformed. And I feel like in this day and age, we are right now, a majority of people probably have not even seen the entire interview because we have attention spans like goldfish. And so they probably couldn't sit through the entire interview. But I say all that to say that we have to come to a place in women's basketball where we can critique without being a hater. And I challenge all of you all to understand that I in no way, shape, or form am a hater. I am going to bring facts to the table. And with that being said, the facts that I want to bring to this table, and I challenge anybody to tell me, what player are you taking Angel Reese over of those that I just listed?
Guess we'll wait for their response.
Oh, we're not going to. Okay.
Because
yeah,
I'm sorry.
But what I'm saying is, in what player, and this is no disrespect, these are the greatest players in the game right now. They asked me.
All right, she gets into some other stuff, but she made some fantastic points here. And I think I've probably talked about this before on videos. I know I've had this conversation with people is this whole idea is like if you don't say 100% positive things about someone, you're hating on them. You're a hater, blah, blah, blah. What a terrible person you are. And it's so absolutely stupid. It's ridiculous. It's emotionally immature. It's childish. It is absolute nonsense. Candace Parker has a job as a basketball analyst. She got players to rank and she ranked them. You may disagree, and then you have to come and say why you think a player should be above another player, and that is fine. That is sports debate, folks. That is what fans have been doing since sports have started. and someone said to me at two quick examples I saw this morning. We had, I saw another one of those people where Caitlin Clark fans do this a lot. Sorry, I know this group's a little different, but I see this a lot where constantly, for whatever reason, a lot of Caitlin Clark fans like to come out and speak for the whole fan base and basically say, you have to think and act exactly the way I want to. We can't have fans that do X. We can't have fans that say Y. You shouldn't do that. And I'm like, my Lord, man, there are big time teams, franchises, athletes, they have millions of fans. You're really seriously going to, and one of them came back to me when I said that. I'm like, just let the fans be the fans. We're all different. No one's going to think the same. And they're like, well, it embarrasses me. I'm sorry, but if a perfect stranger who happens to be a fan of the same team or athlete you are embarrasses you because they have an opinion different than you, that's a you thing, my friend. And you know who you're saying. I'm not even going to mention your name, buddy. Not even going to mention it, but you dissed my show anyway, so too bad. Uh, but right, that's absurd. Like, what? Why are you embarrassed by what a complete stranger says? And to think all fans are going to think and act the same way about all things is absolutely absurd. And that's what we're getting here. Like, you have now Candace Parker clearly doesn't care, and good for her, but you have people that will. And it's absurd that you have to worry about how you criticize and critique athletes or teams because of the response you get when the problem is the response is purely emotional and doesn't have anything to do with the actual criticism of the athlete or team's abilities. And again, I invite you to come to Philly. I worry about what this WNBA team in Philly is going to go through because there's no way that they can handle it. I mean, oh man, if you only listened to or heard the things we said about our absolute favorites when they aren't playing well. Again, normal folks. And someone would say, yeah, okay, maybe Philly's extreme, but I'm sorry. Check out New York, check out LA, check out Dallas in terms of the Cowboys. Fans, short for fanatics. Yes, they are incredibly critical of their own players. And someone in that conversation I was having also followed up and said, hey, does this count for Caitlin Clark as well? Because, yeah, you know what? A lot of fans, to be fair, in this conversation, a lot of Caitlin Clark fans. Now, I get defending Caitlin Clark from the hatelins and the haters who are being disingenuous or lying about things and whatever, and you clap back hard, whatever. But it also does seem a lot of times like Caitlin Clark fans are not allowed to be critical of her play because of the reaction they get. And you all know it because I have been critical at times with certain things. I've talked about her defense, where I think overall it's way better than what a lot of people say. They just love to say, oh, she's terrible on defense. That's not true. I actually think she's a better overall defender than Paige Beckers. I think at times she takes time off. And I've told you the biggest thing two things I've seen with her defense is her stance at times, and also at times she loses sight of the ball. And I think those things can be improved. But that's not hating on Caitlin Clark, and that's not dissing Caitlin Clark. And so Candace makes an extremely important point. And if the WNBA can't get past that, because this is the type of stuff, these are the conversations that you have in all these other sports. And if the WNBA can't get past that to where it's always these emotional personal attacks, that is a problem within the sports media and within the sports fandom. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Candace Parker got a lot of heat for rank, and she makes a good point. I think we could all debate on those names that she mentioned and where they would be if you were actually ranking them. But who would Angel Reese be put above in that? Now, of course, our Angel Reese fans will freak out and say she should be number one and talk about how terrible Caitlin Clark is and all this other stuff. But I mean, who would you put her above in those with those players? I don't know. Like now, Angel Reese, I know she's playing a different position, different roles, and she could be in that conversation at some point, but she's not right now. Right. And that's just the way it is. Just like everyone prep for the fact that Caitlin Clark is not going to be in the MVP voting. Caitlin Clark is not going to be all WNBA. Forget first team. She's just not going to be all WNBA, period, because of all the injuries and so on and so forth. So, that's just the way it is right now. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video. Thank you so much for all your support. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.